It's the day you have to go to all your classes. It was a school day. According to my minimum attendance shift chart, I had to go. I really didn't want to, but if I didn't go by my minimum attendance shift chart, my calculations would get messed up. In the worst case scenario, I might have to repeat a year. Even though I'm sleepy, I fed off a yawn and shrugged off towards school. It'd take 10 minutes to walk from my base to school. My mood sank lower soon after I started walking. My body felt heavy. It was hard to breathe. I started to sweat. I was always like this when I go to school. Why do I have to go to school? It's such a painful event, muttering balefully to myself. I kept moving my feet forward all the same, head down watching the asphalt's white line. Shut up, Uminako! And because they kind of sounded like sequels. Entered Shoto Park. The school's right on the other side. Housewives took their morning walks, and salarymen sat on the benches reading sports newspapers around the park's pond. Even though Shibuya was crowded and noisy, the park on the outskirts was quiet and perfect for the expression, a place for relaxation. I sat down on one of the benches too. On the way to school, it was a habit of mine to eat breakfast while gazing at the surface of the pond brimming with serene water. It was a nice time of year, and the trees were gradually gaining color. Today's menu was some breakfast bread I brought at the convenience store along the way. Be enough to tide me over until tonight. I wouldn't normally eat lunch. No one wanted to eat lunch with a creepy otaku like me. I had no interest in eating lunch by myself while everyone around me merely ate together. Finishing my cream-filled bread with some Coke, I gazed listlessly up at the sky. It's already raining pretty badly, like in just the past 5 minutes. Somehow, the skies of Shibuya always seem drab. It doesn't matter what season it is, the sky doesn't change. My parents' house was only a few stations along a river, but there's a distinctively different feeling between there and here. That said, I kinda like the dullness of the sky, though I really don't know why. Last time I watched to check the time. If I didn't get going soon, I'd be late. I'd avoid that at all costs. Someone who only goes to school 2.5 times a week couldn't do anything to make myself stand out. In any case, it was important to just be there, kinda like the air. Safely and peacefully make it through the day without catching the eyes of the teachers or any delinquent types, without having anyone interfere with me. That was the goal of my school life. I attend Sume Private Academy. I assume that, yeah, that's monologue, so. It doesn't have much of a history. Here, that was founded about 10 years ago. The building is neat and trim looking, and a lot of TV dramas about teaching are shot here. The uniforms are apparently designed by a famous designer, so quite a few of the girls are airheads who entered the school just because they wanted to wear the uniform. It's ostensibly a prep school, but the percent of people who continue on to college is at an upper middle level. Hilariously enough, they use the blurb, a free creative school atmosphere, as a selling point for new students, regardless of the fact that the school regulations are very strict. Although the rules are in the process of becoming rules only in name. Besides, it isn't entirely off the mark to describe it as a free creative school atmosphere, I guess. After all, someone like me, who only comes 2.5 times a week, can keep rising to the next grade like anyone else. As might have been expected, when I reached the front of the school, the other students are on their way there start getting noisy. But since I'm no good with crowds, I hunched over as they passed through the school gates. In my heart, I went up on fervently reciting, "No, no one talk to me, no one talk to me," over and over. My little sister, who's 1 year younger, goes to the school too, but she lives with my parents. The day when I ran into her is a tragic day indeed. Okay, I did say I liked the 3D backgrounds before, but now it's just kind of weird. Another thing that always kind of bothers me is, when all the main characters have weird colored hairs, but all the background characters just have, brown, black hair. Luckily today I managed to get to my classroom without encountering her, and in one piece. Quickly took my seat, to not meet anyone's eyes. The feeling that the group of girls chatting nearby tossed me a look, but it was only for a second, and went back to their conversation without saying anything. They deep down, they viewed me as a creep, no doubt about it. From my point of view, 30 girls are far more creepy. They deep down, okay, I just had to make sure, third time that it's just typo. Does it count as a typo if it's a grammar mistake? Well, I assume he just kind of makes like, I know slash knew they deep down, something like that. From my point of view, 30 girls are far more creepy. Find me if they think I'm a creep. I agree with you. These 30 girls are pretty creepy. If they don't notice, I'm here all the better. Then just do that, then I'll go on living in silence, without giving them any trouble. I often wonder what's wrong with people who call me creepy. I don't get it. It almost seems like they want the attention of the people they're calling creeps. I was in my seat, just hunched over my desk, staring at its surface.
Yo, Taku.
Yo, Taku! Suddenly someone smacked me lightly on the back. Startled me, and I raised my head. Today's a school-going day for you? Who's this? Masumi-kun. My classmate, Masumi Daisuke. Daisuke? I think it's Daisuke. Daisaki. He's giving me a grin. He was pretty good looking, and all the girls seemed to like him. He himself openly declared how much he liked women. For him to say he was dating several people at once, from my perspective, this guy who jumped fully into the delinquent territory. Possible, I'd prefer to not have any connection to him at all, but... You just look down. Too much gaming and not enough sleep? Not really. You're the only person in the entire class who talked to me. Wonder why you always started talking to me. Our hobbies and personalities aren't even slightly similar. It's been on my mind since we've been classmates this year. If hypothetically I were a girl, I'd kind of understand. But being a guy, I don't know why you talk to me. There's no avoiding it. You're a hikikomori. Wait, I always thought it was hikikomori. I think that's a typo. But come on, try answering a little more cheerfully. That's what I've done so a long time ago. It's almost painful for me to talk to 2D things. Anxiety keeps my voice from coming out properly. Since I don't normally talk much, I can't articulate myself while through speech. I shrink back because I'm scared I might say something stupid and be made fun of. This guy's relatable. I wish people wouldn't talk about stuff like they knew nothing about. They have no clue how hard it is for me. Whenever a sentence comes out wrong, I was get scared that I made it scared. That's not the right word, but you get what I mean. That I made a typo. But really it's just, you know. I have no clue how hard it is for me. Oh, but I'm no hikikomori. Okay. I don't know which one's the right spelling, but I'm just gonna keep saying hikikomori because that's how, I've always thought it said at least. Someone who shuts himself in his room 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I'm Jeffrey. I can keep going this fight. Be nervous about trips and swapping. I got the I'm a homo. What? Yeah, you are a homo sapieneo. Get it? What? Hold on. He really doesn't like girls, and he's really in a hurry to put some distance between us, I pulled away. I almost fell out of my chair, flustered. I grabbed onto my desk. What the heck? How you doing? This reminds me of that scene from Rewrite. Huh? Like, heck I am. Describing how I am with the ladies. Yeah, he has he talked to a girl once. Oh yeah, just get the crap out of him. By the way, he quickly checked out your on the screen and lowered his voice. Yes, right. That's okay, not healing. Come on, show some interest. Tanaka, telling your man, Tanaka. Who's Tanaka? It's almost October and you still don't know your classmates' names? Oh, guess that's natural, since you're not interested in the third day match. I mean, they are, never mind. Exasperated, he shrugged his shoulders and then out of a sigh. However, up until the present, and never once belittled me for my hobby. In fact, that I love 2D characters. He didn't call me creepy or anything. It wasn't to his taste, so he didn't overstep himself. Looking at that side of him, he doesn't seem like such a bad guy. This might have been why I unintentionally fell into conversations with him whenever we started talking. With this, finished capturing practically all the cute girls in our class. It's like a Pokédex, you know? Thinking that it's about time to expand my compared to the class next door. Maybe he isn't that good of a guy after all. Okay. The girl's over for this. sorry. That's right. Not like get you mowed up. That's a saying. In your face. More of like the warm than like getting fired up. People wouldn't pass around the word mowing without knowing what it means. Okay. Well, stop talking about stuff. Does anyone know where mowing is really? So, you heard about the new gen thing? Here we go. Honestly, it surprised me to hear those words coming out of his mouth. I thought he was the person who didn't think about anything other than a woman. I couldn't picture him watching the news or reading the paper. According to the rumors, the group dive case was murder too. Is that so? Not joshing you. I was reading the sports newspaper. So it was the sports newspaper. One of them might be completely unreliable. Besides, I've already heard that news. Not that it caught my interest. So, listen to be amazed, will you? An eyewitness reports that the killer is female. On top of that, oh wow! Female. As I watched Masumi dumping this excitedly, the dots finally connected. So I started reading the sports paper, which you normally wouldn't have given the time of day. That had to do with a girl. Guess you called this natural development. We're probably far enough in that I can call it. I don't really know how far in this is because I'll be splitting the video, but this is probably around like 20 minutes, right? Hopefully. I hope. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey guys, we're back with Chaos Ed. Although, depending how I cut this up, this may be in the middle of an episode. So, well, we're back either. Well, I'm back either way. And so, when we left off, we were talking about the new gen incident. Yeah, they say the murderer is a female, so you know, our local Gitzel, the girlfriend coon, was talking about it. Would he be cool with a murderer as long as she was cute? Duh. Speaking for myself, I'd be okay with that if she were a 2D character, but Mitsumi cast his eyes at the blue sky beyond the window. His face took on a far-off look. Why is he looking like he just achieved enlightenment or something? Wonder what kind of person the culprit is. She really a hottie? Want to see her and find out. I don't think you want to find out. Turning my mic up just a little. I'll turn desktop audio up just a little. Is there no BGM here? Just now I became certain of the fact that this is a guy who lives solely through the lower half of his body. What, his legs? I'm confident that she won't kill me at least. After all, look, I'm a pretty cool guy. This guy's totally going to die. She might be a serial killer, but when she meets me, she'll fall in love on the spot, man. That's why you won't get killed? The frivolity of his train of thought whooshed clearly over my expectations. I rolled back from the Musumi who proved himself able to say such a thing breezily and without hesitation. I'm not into that, so. But hey, whether or not it catches your interest, the purpose is definitely wandering around the area, you know? Might end up crossing paths with her somewhere. What if Masumi were the killer? No, I could certainly rule that much out, but I couldn't completely deny the possibility that it was one of the students here. If that were the case, maybe I should say I have post-traumatic stress disorder to maneuver my way into graduating even with insufficient attendance. Wow, he's good. Look, wanna come check out the crime scene with me today? We can get there by walking from here. Sounds like there's still blood and stuff left over. Why would you want to do that? And absolutely zero interest in doing so. All I wanted was to peacefully and safely take my classes, hurry up and go home, greet my Saratan, and return to the world where I can become a god. Kobayashi and Hasegawa said they've already been there to see it. Not into that kind of thing, really. Felt bad for turning down Masumi. Oh, this is delusions. I think that's what this is. I think so. I assume this is negative and this is positive, based off the colors. But I couldn't go along. So I squeezed out my voice with the intention of confusing him, but he wouldn't listen. I'm not sure what this will do, but... Okay, it's gone. He wouldn't listen. Then we might have a surprise run-in with the perp. Isn't it often said that the criminal returns to the scene of the crime? And you'll be your next target. Prepay your sins with that. Dude, you tried to kill me off. That kind of thing. As for the nature of your offense, let's see. How about you're a shut-in? Of course, there's no reason for me to want to see blood or anything. That kind of thing is too terrifying. wasn't a haunted mansion type attraction or a horror film. People were being killed in real life, and the perpetrators still hadn't been caught. I didn't want to go anywhere that might even be a tiny bit dangerous. Even so, I found myself wondering about the new gen criminal's motive. Were the incidents pleasure killings by someone with a couple screws loose in his or her head? It might be more fitting to think along those lines. Well, whatever. It had nothing to do with me. By the way, I'm also a mass murderer. Despite having killed so many, I'm treated like a hero nevertheless. Instead, ESO, that is. Lol. That comparison alone is enough to prove that the 2D world is unquestionably better than the real world. While frantically turning down Misumi's invitation, internally pictured myself throwing one straight punch after another. A murderer, you say? I'd smash a guy like that to pieces the second I met him. By sinking in delusions like that, I'm capable of killing or saving anyone. Someone who try to enact in your life would be a pure idiot for not thinking about the consequences. Okay, so by picking the positive one, he just kind of thinks, haha, I can beat up the murderer. Hoo-hoo. Even the new gen killer would have to get caught pretty soon. And after being put in jail for several decades, they'd get executed. I wanted to tell that killer, ah, if only you'd stuck to doing it in your imagination and left it at that. Went out to buy dinner. Okay, that was like a cut forward. One thing I'm kind of curious about is like, I believe they're called the Committee of 300 related to these killings. Because like they're the guys behind Saren, right? I'm pretty sure I remember that. I don't think that's even mentioned in Steins Gate actually. Or maybe it's like one casual line, but uh, I know they're the antagonists in basically everything in the Science Adventure series, I think. Like, I know they are in robotics notes. Was it them, or was it just, well, someone related to them anyway? So I assume it's the same in here in Chaos Ed. Went out to buy dinner. Maybe they have to do something with delusions or something? Was on the road to the neighborhood convenience store I usually frequent. It's about 3 minutes from my base by foot. Familiar scenery, a filthy street. But unlike any other day, today I was attacked by a peculiar sensation that I had gotten lost in a different world altogether. Although the scenery itself hadn't changed, it was as if I was setting foot in this place for the first time. Apparently, this is called Jama's Fu. Looked it up online before. I did too. I think that was like the achievement like maybe the name of the chapter of Ferris's route, and or maybe the name of the ending in Steins Gate. So I looked that up. It's the opposite of Deja Vu. Although I kind of get the two mixed up. They're pretty similar. Also, the garden stench of raw garbage was floating in the air. The seeping moisture that clung to my skin was enough to make me mistakenly think it was raining. The air seemed to paste itself to me. A sound. I faintly heard the sound of something being dragged along. I stopped my feet and listened closely. The sound was coming from the depths of a narrow alley that bent away to the left where I was standing. Or so it seemed anyway. There were no street lamps and no light came from the nearby houses, which was why I couldn't quite tell what lay at the end of the road, even if I strained my eyes. Being that a place of such... Okay, what's with these sound effects? This is spooky. Such deep darkness can be found in modern Japan, not to mention Shibuya, which is right up there with Shinjuku when it comes to being labeled a city that doesn't sleep. It's kind of like being in a haunted house. No, there's one aspect in which it differed conclusively from a haunted house. That was the fact that this darkness wasn't man-made. I didn't want to go there. It'd be better not to go there. In my heart, I kept warning myself. But as if I were being sucked in by the sound that continued unbroken, my feet took an inexplicable step forward. I feared that something awful would happen if I kept going. Spooky piano! Is this the title theme? It might be. My heart pounded violently, and greasy sweat poured down my forehead. Turn the... There. Beyond here, I think that was a girl talking. Someone let forth a lovely noise, reached my ears as I whispered. Then someone suddenly grabbed my forehead. It was so abrupt that I fell into a panic and tried to scream, but it wouldn't come out. It took all my strength merely to expel air from my throat. Terror made me want to run away any second now, but my body wouldn't listen to me. My feet froze on the spot and wouldn't move a bit. The hand of the person gripping my arm had entered my field of vision. Jellyman! It was a deep green and as thin as a mummy's, with countless veins protruding. It didn't look at all like it belonged to someone living. Going beyond there, Truly won't have been strange for me to fall on my butt right there and lose control of my bladder. Yet her voice was oddly easy on the ears. My erupting fear steadily came under control. It's dangerous. That low, tense voice slowly turned her around. The first thing that flew into my ears was the Sume Academy emblem. It's something that's sewn onto the breast of all Sume uniforms. You could tell she was a girl from the fact she was wearing a skirt. But I didn't have the courage to look up at the most important part, her face. Because she was standing closer than I expected, it took all my effort to avert my eyes. Something was wrong here. Sensing that in the corner of my head, I guess I could look at my upper arm. The girl's delicate and feminine fingers were gripping me. If there all I had seen previously was a girl hand. Who was this girl? What kind of face did she have? What kind of face was she looking at? What was she doing here? Myriad doubts ran through my mind, and I couldn't bring myself to speak to her, so all I did was hang my head. Without my noticing it, the dragging sound had vanished. Go back. So to replace that, what came from her body, hey, Takumi, was the scent of blood. Oh. Turned off the TV. We're done here. Oh, sweet. I don't think this is... Okay, his name's Takuyu, right? Uh, settings. Takumi, okay. Okay. I was thinking it was Takumi, and I was like, wait, no. Yesterday I found out it's Takuyu, right? Okay. Takumi. Give me a couple hours into this, and I'll remember. That was sweet. I was sitting in front of a PC monitor. Poured some Coke in my mouth to suppress my exhilaration. Stretched widely in my reclining chair. So, is this Takumi or someone else? Because it doesn't look like this room. It was a very real seeming flight of fancy, if I do say so myself. Plus, a high school girl with a mysterious editor appeared in it. That about giving her a name and cultivating her in my imagination. Playing around like this a lot. Sometimes they cast a pre-existing character, such as Sarah Tan. But I get a sense that this girl's a different type from Sarah Tan. Whatever the case, what's great about it is I can do whatever the heck I want in my head, whether it's set in the second or third dimensions. All that occurs in my delusions goes accordingly to my godly will. Next time I'll put in a little arrow, too. I muttered without thinking, as far back in my base. I remember that I was at a net cafe. I covered my mouth. Okay, I was kind of thinking it was one of those, but I couldn't remember if Japan had those or not. Like, I know they're a thing in Korea. Quietly studying my surroundings. Well, it's not like anyone was listening. So I hated going out. At cafe was my sole amusement spot. It's located at the edge of Shibuya's shopping district, as such, many of its customers were delinquent DD girls or blairy salarymen. All the rooms were meant for individual use, so it wasn't a problem. By the way, the room I'm currently in, room 37, has been reserved for my use. It was placed in the furthest back part of the store. It was inconvenient for going to get juice refills, but because not many people wanted the nearby seats, it was relatively quiet. Went out of my way to come here once or twice a week on the way back from school, in order to log into ESO with a different ID. In other words, it was like taking a break. Night Heart was a little too well known. I didn't mind that, but having to be a paragon of heroic behavior day after day was pretty stressful. The one I use over here is a female character called Lizelot. Lizelot? Lizelot. Let's say Lizelot. However, or maybe Lizlot? Lizelot, sure. Battle history was pretty terrible. I only used her to make those around her look better in comparison. Today, too, I released my stress by playing for about 3 laid-back hours. Afterwards, I chatted with my guild friends for a while, getting worked up over stupid and/or aerial topics. Close to 9 p.m. when I left the store. Around this time of night, there tends to be an especially large number of juvie types in the shopping district. I got the urge to vomit when I saw them sitting here and there along the road like it belonged to them, or grinning cruelly while eating fast food hamburgers. If I made the mistake of meeting their eye, these imbeciles would soon react by attacking me. What savages! People like that aren't human beings. They're just males and females. They don't have a single fragment of social intelligence. Guys like that should go die. Seriously, this guy really hates people. Seriously, they should just go off and die. That's what I kept thinking. When you got down to it, it was pointless to respond to them, so I planned to hastily remove myself from the shopping district. It took me a little out of my way, but after leaving at cafe, I routine to stop by either the nearby manga direct or animate stores. Deciding how to go with Animate today, I headed over to the subway's southern entrance. What was the other one? Manga Darake. Animate might have been mentioned in Steins Gate. When you come this way, the number of delinquents sharply decreases. The central district was seriously chaotic. Just walking there almost made it hard to breathe. If it were possible, I wouldn't want to take a single step closer. Want it all to get destroyed, leaving behind only At Cafe and Manga Darake. Now then, I'll trawl through the comics and doujinshi today as well. Come to think of it, pre-orders for the 5th Barachu DVD should be opening soon, shouldn't they? Before I knew it, I was standing on the narrow street in the Maruyama area that I always used to get back to my base from Animate. I blinked multiple times. They spelled animate differently both times. Took a peek inside my bag. Several textbooks and gaming-enabled cell phone were the only things inside. And I bought anything in Animate today, despite the fact that I always buy something there, without fail. I noticed I began walking again. From here, it would take less than 15 minutes to get back to my base. Merely moving a little ways from the station was enough to make the dazzling lights and neon vanish. The presences of other people grow scarce. If I had to put it one way or the other, it wasn't very active. At most, I saw middle-aged couples on their way to the hotel district. Once in a while, a salaryman returning to his nearby home. I had a hard time thinking that it was the same Shibuya as the shopping district, which overflowed with those delinquents. It seemed that clouds had come out now that it was night. The moon was hidden from us, making the road darker than usual. Same thing again. Familiar scenery, a filthy street. And I was attacked by a peculiar sensation that I had gotten lost in a different world altogether. Although the scenery itself hadn't changed, it was as if I were setting foot in this place for the first time. Also, the rotten stench of raw garbage was floating in the air. The seeping moisture that clung to my skin was enough to make me mistakenly think it was raining. The air seemed to paste itself to me. Wait a second. When was the Gan referring to? When I previously experienced Yamada's flu. Okay, so he forgot. I was kind of thinking that. So he just thinks earlier was like a delusion. He doesn't really remember it. So did that actually happen though? Reality and delusions were getting mixed together. Now my thoughts are starting to resemble the stereotypical analysis offered by some sketchy expert on a TV variety show, weren't they? Anyway, I was suddenly experiencing Jama's flu at this very moment. And that wasn't all. And the last time in his delusion, he had Jama's flu as well. So that means this has happened to him before. That prickling along the muscles of my neck, the sensation that someone looking down on me from heavens. It wasn't an hallucination. No matter how I sped up my pace, the gaze followed me wherever I went. Right now, someone was definitely watching me. The presence of the gaze was just that strong. Wanted to turn around, but in the end, I didn't. This was a game I challenged myself with every once in a while. When I heard some small noise, even I had the feeling someone was watching me, I played the "I'll take more than that to make me turn around" game. If I turned around, I would lose. The visions that usually appeared in my head when I sensed the gaze were ghosts with horrifying faces, monsters, things like that. Well, whatever the case, in these past 17 years, there wasn't a single instance of me turning around and actually finding something there. What about just earlier today? With that limited guarantee of safety attached to it, I'm going to enjoy the single player mental game. I'll listen carefully to the wind, raise one eyebrow, and make a dubious face, try saying manga-esque lines. Because the reason I didn't turn around wasn't because I was scared or anything. You bad person, you're watching me. Whose eyes are those eyes? Just kidding. It meant to make an urgent show of my own nonchalance, but before I realized it, my feet had stopped. Sensing a faint alteration in the strained hair, I cowered. At some point, my face had become soaked with sweat. My knees seemed about to start knocking. I'm gonna take a drink. Hold on. Alright. Unable to bear it any longer, I turned around. Lost the game. There's no one behind me after all. You just lost the game. There weren't even cars passing. What was the sense of displacement? Ah, the ringing in my ears stopped. Noticed the sound only when it stopped. Up until then, I'd been hearing a sound like my ears ringing. Up until then, I'd completely failed to recognize the fact that they was ringing. Now I heard nothing. A silence so silent it seemed like a lie, especially smack in the middle of a city. I had the feeling that I should be able to hear any sounds out there with incredible clarity. Shut my eyes tight and focused on my hearing. But of course, I heard nothing. Strange. This was really strange. Normally, I'd surely hear things like trains running in the distance and car horns beeping. Why? Something gone wrong with my ears? I wanted to shout out loud. I felt like I'd go crazy if I didn't, but I couldn't do it. It was too quiet, and the thought that breaking the silence might bring about something terrible made me hesitate. I'm getting reminded of our rewrite here. You know, like the Stone City. Single sound unexpectedly entered my soundless world. When I glanced over, at the end of the dirty road lay fallen numerous shiny somethings. They were strewn about to cover the asphalt. The crosses. Oh, crosses! Wow! The instant I recognized them as such, my feet, which before had refused to do so much as twitch, spontaneously stepped forward. Upon picking up one of the scattered crosses, I found that it was made of metal. Its lengthy point sharpened into something like a needle. I kind of remember this. Like, is it someone like tied up on a cross? You know, dead? Or I just remember crosses were there. It's like a motif of the murder. A stake or an arrow? Because it was shaped strangely, I'd mistaken it for a cross. I felt buoyant as I gripped the stake in my hand. I could hear it. A softly resounding sound of something or other. A chilly sound, one that made the muscles of my back freeze up. It came to me at intervals. My feet wouldn't stop. I continued walking as though my consciousness were being sucked in that sound's direction. Was I being driven by morbid curiosity? Or is it because I wanted someone to save me? Because I wanted to be lifted out of that soundless world? This was turning out almost like a German folk tale. How did it go? That's right. The Pied Piper of Hamelin. I haven't heard of it. Over 100 children were lured away by the sound of his pipe. The sound didn't stop. The unpleasant sound of something being hammered grew closer and closer as I continued forward. The sound was coming from the depths of a narrow alleyway to my left. If I turned the corner, I would discover its source. Why didn't I think of drawing back? The idea didn't even occur to me. It was as though I was being made to move by something outside me. As I turned the corner, what was left in my eyes was floating up out of the darkness, a brilliant red. Oh. The first reaction was to think, I've seen this object, the art, somewhere before. That end doesn't seem real. The art, is that a thing? Some of the screws holding together my heart might have gotten blasted away. Is that her like hammering like the crosses into one? My senses might have gone numb. If I were my usual self, terror might have made me let out a pathetic scream, collapse, and urinate on the spot. An object to art, like a head cog, or a bunch of flower arranging needles. My rod instincts kept it stuck to the wall. As I gazed mindlessly at it, I realized that a huge quantity of red blood was flowing from the mountain of stakes. The brilliant red I had initially seen was a puddle of blood. Lit by the weakened light of the street lamps that had just barely reached it, that red let off a slick luster. Moreover, a bunch of shiny, flesh-like lumps that I couldn't identify were lying around. I started to suck in my breath, but at some point my throat had dried up. Not a single drop of saliva ran down it, and realized the thing pinned by the stakes was a human corpse. It was done too immorally, too mercilessly, too brutally. The one who had done so, the one who had driven this many stakes into the concrete, was a single girl. I heard to say how I knew that. Because the girl gripping a bundle of stakes with scarlet painted hands was, at the very moment, standing still in front of the object de art. I don't know what. Hold on, I'll look it up on my phone. Because I had like window. Hang on. Object dart. Oh, typo. Object dart. Okay, there is something that comes up on Google. A small decorative or artistic object, typically one regarded as a collectible item. Okay. Since her back was facing me, I couldn't tell what kind of expression she was making. The uniform she wore was from Sume. The rotting garbage-like smell I had sensed earlier reached my nose more and more vividly, making nausea come at me in intervals. Unable to tolerate it, I covered my mouth and struggled to keep my stomach acid from bursting out. At that point, I finally remembered the origin of my Jama's food, the feeling that I had seen this somewhere before. At one time, the photo, Shogun linked it to. Here's my voice without meaning to, without realizing that such an action was fatal. The sound of my voice, her blood-dyed shoulders shivered. She slowly turned to face me. Her gaze pierced through me, such dark eyes. She had killed somebody. Ah! She looked at me, widening her eyes as though shocked, then shifted to a tearful smile and squeezed her voice out. So glad, she murmured. Glad? What is there to be glad about? More importantly, in a situation like this, why would she see me and smile? Her meaning was unclear, so unclear that something cold ran down my spine. I hastily averted my eyes. I reflexively thought, I don't want to get caught up in anything weird. I couldn't talk to real girls while looking them in the eye. Even setting them aside, she was unmistakably a murderer. The police would come soon, and I was hungry. That's why I should go home. Should leave right this second. If not, I'll go insane. Taku. She knows me. She knows me. She knows my name. She abruptly called my name, even though it was the first time we'd met, and I hadn't given her my name. I wanted to see you. As she watched me, her lips twisted in a horrifically fearless smile, like those of a demon. I screamed. While screaming, I ran blindly. I went on yelling even as it became hard to breathe. Whatever happened, I desperately kept running. Turning just once to look behind me, but she hadn't come chasing after me. We lived!